What's up, family? It is your man, CRB Jr. here at Big Boss Filmworks, Motown Mafia Podcast, here with my partner in crime in these matters, Brother Lou. How you feeling, baby?
Killing them, man. I can't complain.
It is a whole
It's
lot.
a lot going on, man.
It's a lot going on.
Woo.
It is good. So the channel continues to grow. We appreciate everyone's support. So before we even get into this, to talk about support, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. It continues to help us grow so that we can continue to...
And if you're watching this on Facebook, you want to do the follow.
Yes, please follow us on Facebook. That thing is growing over there too. And we're also on TikTok.
We are on TikTok. We're going to start doing TikTok lives real soon.
Okay, so we'll definitely check us out, obviously here on YouTube. Also, you can always, if you're in your car, you're driving, or you just like to, wherever you do listen to your other podcast at, we are on Spotify and Anchor. You can look us up under Motown Mafia Podcast. So that is also another way for you to always keep track of what we are doing.
Yeah, man.
Right?
Big time.
So I sent you over a clip that I came across because a friend of ours is doing some very interesting work.
Yeah.
And I am not going to burden the family with all of the YouTube politics.
Yeah, Game of Thrones.
Of different platforms. Everybody knows, you guys know that we work deep in conjunction with American Dope,
right?
And my man Al Prophet. So shout out to Al Prophet. Shout out to Scott Bernstein.
Shout out
to all the original crew.
Much respect
to them. But through Al, we met a good brother out of Harlem who has a great book, if you guys have not checked it out, called Raised by Wolves, and that is the brother Cavario. So shout out to brother Cavario. So as I'm doing what we're doing, and again, I do not, we at Big Boss do not get into the dramas of all the platforms and who shot John and why they shot him and why they don't talk and, any of the above. So anyway, I'm watching Vlad.
Yeah.
Because I do subscribe. The technology that won't escape us.
Yeah, that's right.
We good on that now? Watching clip comes up, I get a notification, Vlad, and I see Brother Cavario is interviewing a guy by the name of Peter Shue.
Right.
Now, if you guys are not familiar with Peter Shue, he was a big deal in New York in the 80s, and I think all the way going into the early 90s. I don't think he has a great book out too that's called Life of the Party.
Okay, yeah.
Because in his run in the underworld, he ended up actually becoming one of the premier party promoters in New York, and probably is just as famous for his parties and party promotions as he is for the bag that he moved. And he moved a really big bag. That's right. It's a great interview that Peter Shue did. In fact, I was saying the irony, another guy that always deserves a shout out, and that's the big homie Kevin Childs.
Big up.
So if you read the big homie Kevin Childs' book, The Crack Era, at the same time he was going through his case, Peter Shue was going through his legal situation.
Right.
Just like the brother Kevin Childs, Peter Shue had two hung juries. Kevin Childs had two hung juries. Peter Shue had two hung juries.
Okay.
Well, when the feds want you that bad, they keep coming. So in Kevin's case, feds said, we're still going to go back and try you again a third time. He had already been sitting down for like 3.5, approaching 4 years by the time the second hung jury leading to a mistrial happens. His lawyers drew a line in the sand and said, dude, you got to take the deal the feds are willing to give you. Even the judge had gotten sympathetic to Kevin's case again, and if you read The Crack Era, he really articulates and spreads out. But the long and the short of it was the feds were trying to get Kevin an 848 mandatory life with no possibility of parole. It's the kingpin status. It's what they tried to hit Pops and Eddie with way back in the day with an 848 charge.
Oh yeah.
They are willing to knock down the 848 for Kevin and just give him a straight 10 years on the narcotics conspiracy. So he's already done basically 4. They're talking, giving him 10. With good time, you're looking at 8.5.
Oh.
He was 3.5 from walking out the door if he takes the deal. His attorneys tell him, if you don't take this deal, we got go find another lawyer, because nobody wants to be the guy whose client ends up with life with no possibility of parole when he could have been home 4 years later.
Right.
Kevin did the smart move, took the deal. Boom, it's obviously gone on with his life and all the success that he's had. So since getting out the joint, and just a stand-up hell of a guy. But Peter Shue took a different route.
Okay.
Peter Shue decided to roll the dice a third time. He ended up getting found guilty on that third trial, and it cost him about, I think, 23 to 25 years of his life. Damn. Yeah. So just a little irony. But so anyway, so again, check out the interview there that Cavario does with Peter Shue. But an interesting note in that interview was they brought up a topic that you've probably been privy to me and Eddie Baby having conversations about, Coke money versus dog food money.
But yeah, exactly.
You know, and me being and he usually, it's Eddie speaking in terms of the amount of money that Demetrius DH made selling Girl. And there's been obviously what those boys Meech and T did with their situation with the Girl, and numerous others. The big fella out of Detroit, the king of the game, guy by the name of Felix Walls.
Right.
I mean, guys who are getting it in by the metric ton. I'm talking about 1,000 at a time. But Peter Shue agreed with me. I don't care how much Yale you get.
It ain't.
You ain't gonna run up the bag like I'm gonna run up the bag when I got a good dog food play.
That puppy child, boy.
I don't care how you want to cut it. I don't care how many bricks of it. First of all, I can just say, like with Pop, even when we were doing that run with Mr. B out the Bahamas with that Yale, he'd flip a few wholesale, but handling a brick and making $2,000 off of the transaction, I never could wrap my head around it. And yeah, I know the math. Okay, yeah, but if you got 100 bricks and you make $2,000 off each one, that's $20,000. And if it's right, you might be able to do 10 a day. So that's $20,000 a day, right? But a good dog spot gonna do 30, 40, 50 a day, and your margin is 10 times that.
That's right.
And so anyway, Peter Shue was agreeing with me, and so he was talking about, because he used to do both. He was real with it. He said he only wholesaled the dog because one of the things why they called my father the professor was his ability to mix it. And Shue was saying he never could really get the right mix. And in that game, it's all about the mix. It's all about the mix. These boys here in Detroit with that mix jive, of course, got it down to a science. You know, if you listen to Roland, and you listen to, shout out and R.I.P. to Brett Goodwin. Another shout out to Mr. Cooper, the big homie here in the D. Shout out to Pep. They'll talk about them boys with that mixed jive was putting an 80 on it. That means you take 1 ounce and turn it into 80 ounces.
80 ounces.
Right? The Fat Man was taking 1 key, turning it into 20 keys, and then wholesaling it where somebody else was putting a 30 or 40 on it. So let me go through that again. Fat Man then took 1 brick that he getting from them Italians at 99% pure from Carmine Labandozzi of the Gambino crime family. He's taking 1 key. When after Pops and 5-0 and Rudolph and Black Butch and the rest of the crew get done with it, they're going to get that to the mixing table. They're going to take that 1 brick, a boy, and turn it into 20. They then can wholesale that just like it's pure, even though they have multiplied it by 20 times. And the person that they sell it to after they put a 20, they going to put a 30 on it and retail it.
Yeah.
And it's still going to be better than anything on the street. Now, I just don't know how when the best yay in the world, if you got a sniff clientele, you might can put a 3 on it and your consumer don't revolt on you.
Right.
That's best case scenario. But it's a big difference between 3 and 20.
Huge.
And a bigger difference between 3 and 80. Yeah. So I'm messing with my man. So Eddie, baby, listen to Peter Shue and me and whatever with your dad. And so, but what the moral of the story went that really I wanted to flesh out about what guys with that dog connection, what they really think about the yayo business.
Yeah.
Eddie's father in 5-0 get caught in 1972 with 8 keys of dog food,
Right.
3 keys of yayo. The 3 keys of yayo was for personal consumption.
That was party favors.
Pops and Eddie and them never sold coke.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even see it as a business. That was something for Eddie and his Hollywood Motown friends to do.
Mm-hmm.
So when you read the newspaper articles about him caught with 3 keys of coke, that was for him to give away to all of his celebrity friends and to sit around and party with the fellas.
Right.
That's what what they thought about a brick of yay. Now these clowns today swear that that's their whole ambition.
That's the pinnacle.
And I'm not saying there is, Lord knows, obviously. I mean, if Pablo Escobar and the profits of the Medellin cartel would make it foolish to say there's no money in it.
Right.
But you damn near gotta be Escobar to get that kind of money in the yayo business. When brothers like Eddie Jackson, Nicky Barnes, Guy Fisher, Frank Matthews, again, Frank Matthews, when they raided his place, he had enough envelopes to make $20 million retail. There are numerous. You can talk to whether it's Kevin Childs, Cavario, Peter Shue. You talk to anybody who knows about Harlem in its glory days. If you listen to the Freddie Meyer story, there is nothing for a block in New York back in the day to do $200,000 a day in dog food.
Yeah.
Right now, in our time, Eddie was doing $50,000 a day, sometimes on a good day on French Road. And I can do the comparison. When he had his bag from Demetrius with that yay, and he's making nickels or dimes the size of golf balls, he might do 15. About 15 a day. But with that dog food from Pops and that Pakistani thing, oh no. 15 would have been a disappointment. But yeah, awesome interview. And again, shout out, congrats to Cavario over there.
Big up, man.
Yeah, he's interviewing in a way that only people from the inside who have lived it can interview.
Right.
So it's a really good look. Peter Shue is a fascinating character. There's a lot of great stories out there. His is assuredly one of them. So yeah, shout out to Cavario and shout out to Peter Shue. And we ain't gonna hate, we congratulate. You guys should check that out if you like this kind of genre. Make sure you check out that Peter Shue interview with Cavario.
There you go.
Yeah. And speaking of, we continued, I'm rewatching again, Blowing Money Fast.
Oh, yeah, Blowing Money Fast, man.
That is the documentary of BMF, how Meech and T, speaking of masters of that yay game. And again, I don't want anyone to take it that I'm saying the guys who do that are not hell of a hustlers or hell of a entrepreneurs. I'm just speaking about the real math of the business model. It's something that you can dilute 50, 100 times and still have its initial value. You just can't compare that business to no other business.
Nah, not at all. You were speaking about something earlier, a little bit off topic, about you and the money counting game.
Oh, so...
that was killer, yeah.
So, when I was a kid, Pop's running the show, obviously, for the Fat Man. Fat Man, Pop's doing a lot of collections. It wasn't just him. Butch was doing collections. But one of Pop's main responsibilities was doing the collections for the bag. So there would be nothing for Pops to come home with $50,000 or $100,000. And it would need to be sorted and counted because Pops also would take the small bills to the bank. They had some bank tellers on the payroll to do the first laundering of the money, which is to turn those singles and fives and tens into large bills, $100 bills. In fact, there's a line in Motown Mafia where Brother Jap, shout out to him, another original OG, where Jap says, seemed like Eddie Jackson had all the $100 bills in the world in his pocket. Well, that would come from Pops would take the street money. They had some tellers they were paying at the banks. They take in $200,000 worth of singles and fives, transfer them into $100 bills. So throughout my childhood, a lot of me and Pop's bonding time would be just counting money. He'd say, Junior, come down to my office and help me count some money.
Right.
So I got proficient with it. Later in life, when I would get into corporate retail, in particular working at the Gap, a good Gap store back then in New York, we do $40,000, $50,000 a day.
Yeah. So
at the end of the night, we'd have to count it up and get the money ready for the Brinks truck to come. Well, so sometimes when all the managers would be down there counting, I'd just be like, I'd be talking and I'd be counting the money, right? Because I already know I just need to look at the denominations, and I know, as I'm kind of here 2, 3, 4, 5. So I know that 50/20s make 1,000 and 20/50 or 20/50s make 1,000, 50/20s make 1,000, or 10/100s make 1,000. Boom, stack, and I can do it kind of in multitask. Been handling cash my whole life, so my coworkers would be like, "How do you do that?" Because they'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'd be like, so the time they would take them to count $10,000, I'd have been and counted 65 times. And I just told them, my family used to be in the cash business. I got used to counting. I got used to counting cash. But cash handling is important. Because I was telling you, and my cuz, when she was working with Big Ed Hansen and them, they were meticulous about how the money came in. All the money had to be like what they call bank faced, which means all the money facing the same way, no creased edges. Yeah. And you get them people $50,000, and if the money is facing the wrong way and it's got folded edges and stuff, they'll bring that money back. Yeah. Because they like, we ain't gonna even count it, because we think if you didn't take the time to manage and sort the money right, you didn't count it accurately, and we ain't got time to recount your money.
That's right. How often did you guys come across counterfeit bills?
We didn't, because I'm going to tell you, the money counting machines came out right about when that Bahamas thing was going on. So like the late 80s. Oh,
okay. Oh, so wait, because I know, I remember seeing them. You're talking about mass consumption, because I know I saw them in like 82, 83.
The banks had them.
Oh, okay.
The banks had them.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure the technology was there even before then. But when we start seeing them like this, when you could go to Zeidman's pawn shop and buy one.
Okay. Yeah, that's about right.
About the late
that's
80s.
About right.
About the late 80s, right? When niggas was coming to the spot, well, like, I got this money counted for you.
Miami Vice stuff.
That era. Probably, okay, so I would say mid 80s, not late 80s.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
83, 84, 85.
Yeah, there you go.
And we started using them, but a couple things with the money counting, as I was saying. A, if you're real good at counting money after you get practice at it, you can't count as fast as the machine, but damn near. But what the machines back then couldn't do was detect funny money.
Okay.
Now those money counting machines, yeah. And our clique never had a problem with that, but I know people who have been victimized by their people turning the money. It's supposed to be 100 large. They done sprinkled in $3,000, and that 100,000 is funny money. Now, I was joking. I was telling you the government made it easier once they start putting, that hologram on the money. It made it easy because you can just
put it up to the sky.
You can just hit the light.
Strip too. Yeah, they had the strip.
But back in the day, it was definitely a texture feel gauge.
Yeah.
And so again, you count money all day, every day. You come across a bill that don't feel right, you like, and then you start and you're like, oh, this shit was made on, this is loose leaf paper. Yeah. This ain't money.
Yeah. To Live and Die in L.A. If any of y'all ever checked that movie out, it's about counterfeiters. Great film.
Yeah, you got to be careful. There's a lot of people I know that got hurt playing with people and they money with that funny money. It's true. The old counterfeiter said, the judge said, why do you keep printing all this counterfeit money? Because he said, because the easiest way to make money is to make money. And if you know the reality of what our dollar is worth and how they just print it when they want to, but that's a whole different issue for a whole different time. What they do with just printing money when they see fit to print money.
Yeah.
But yeah, so being old school, and I didn't like those money counters because, again, once they jam, I never trust the whole count. And as we were discussing off camera,
right?
People ain't got time. Serious people. There are levels to this shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
When somebody hand me $50,000, I have to believe that it's $50,000 there,
right?
Because if I'm running down to the projects or I'm running on French Road, if I'm running over on the West Side and somebody handed me the money, I ain't staying up in the spot to recount it. I'm taking the money and I'm going on my way. Mm-hmm. Now the thing is, once I'm on my way, if the money ain't right, now did Junior and his people do something? Did they short me? So believe it or not, in this game at a certain level, there's a lot of integrity and trust that is necessary,
right,
for it to work.
In order to maintain, absolutely.
People have to know that they don't do that,
mm-hmm.
and that if there is a mistake, if it was supposed to be 100 large and it was only 99.5,
mm-hmm.
and I say you $500 short, only conversation is really going to be recount it again. I counted it 10 times. It's 99.5. It ain't 100 large.
Right.
All right, I owe you 500 then. Because I know that y'all ain't playing. You're not playing. You're not trying to play me out of $500.
Right.
If you didn't counted it, your people that you counted it, your people counted it, and then y'all did a third count together. It's supposed to be 100,000. It's only 99,500. I gotta believe, or my people gotta believe, we made the mistake, and that's real. So,
mm-hmm.
yeah, man, money counting, and again, it will serve you well.
Yeah.
In today's world, it scares me how uncomfortable people are with cash because they never carry it.
Yeah,
they don't touch
straight up about
people don't have money no more. Everything they be at the gas station paying for $3 worth of stuff on a card, and then you mess around, you pull out some money and pay for stuff. People get all.
How many times a month do people ask you what's your cash app?
Man, too many until they learn. I stopped doing it because I was like, "Oh, that cash app make it too easy for people to beg." Nah, I ain't got that.
Not to mention they take such a significant chunk out of the money that
I'm old school. We ain't doing all that paper trail shit.
No.
If you can't find me, then if you can't get to me, then and I can't send you a check, then you probably don't need. Then that's a deal that don't need to happen.
You see.
Yeah, but I am. I don't know Zell. I ain't never met Zell. I don't know Mr. and Mrs. Zell. But they tell me Mr. and Mrs. Zell getting a lot of money.
Right.
But they gonna have to get their money without me.
Yeah. Yeah, buddy.
And you know, Cash App. I think you got my Cash App account.
Yeah.
But and I done told on myself now because they gonna be like, nigga, you kept saying you ain't got Cash App. You was doing that just so I would.
But it's not yours. It's Big Boss Filmworks.
It is, and I can't commingle corporate money with my money. So when I say I don't have Cash App, I was telling the truth. The company got Cash App.
That's
and we're
right.
not gonna start sending out donations out of the company account. That's what we're not gonna do. But speaking of that era, in Blowing Money Fast, episode 2,
right?
You know, Meech and T came up during that crack era.
Yeah.
So again, I think when people and Peter Shue actually mentions a little bit about what I'm about to say. Prior to that crack era, and when dog food ruled the street, so you only had, I don't know, maybe 10, 20 guys in all of Detroit really who was getting it. So you had Eddie at the top of the food chain, but you had some other major well players. You had Richard Wakefield, you had Frank Nitti, Usher, Lester Ramsey, all those guys who are in that article. Right before them, you had obviously Marzette and Claxton and them.
Right.
They have a whole list. You guys have seen the archives of when they first broke the story of Pops and them, the guys who sell heroin. But there was still only a handful of guys that it all trickled down from.
Okay.
You didn't really, but when the world changed in that mid 80s in time, and they go over again this in the BMF docu, a guy who Meech and them started working for by the name of Edie Boyd, who, all praise, shout out to him, he's trying to do some things. He was started what they called the 50 Boys out there in Southwest Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
By today's standard, I guess he had a plug.
Yeah, definitely. But
by Big Boss, Motown Mafia, Fat Man,
ephemeral,
something like that. But that was good enough to get into the game.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, the thing that I think people don't fully comprehend when they say that crack destroyed the city. I mean, there's no doubt the African American community in a city like Detroit was on the ropes with the loss of jobs.
Right.
Family structure started to change, and nobody was prepared for the trauma that the crack addiction, how it was going to hit so many people, because nobody had ever seen it, so nobody could prepare for it or even know about it.
Right.
But it also allowed for anybody to get into the narcotics trade. You could just take your check and go buy an ounce, cook it up, rock it up, and call yourself a drug dealer now.
Yeah.
Right? And those who there's an adage, we be like, sometimes if you hear some old timers around here say, they're talking about an easy business, they'll be like, man, it's like selling crack in the 80s. Yeah, anybody could do it and make money.
Yeah.
And that was the era that they had came up with. And then Meech actually on a phone call talks, I guess if there was any silver lining in it, people who was doing petty violent crimes, snatching purses and B&Es, they became your neighborhood crack peddlers.
Yeah.
But the main thing I want to talk about, that I want you guys to check out, because we do plan on having him on the pod. The connection that really led to Meech and T ascending to beyond the local guy doing good was when they were introduced to a brother named Lawrence through his blood brother, a brother named KK. So shout out to the big homie KK. You guys go back and see. We talked to KK briefly at the Brewster reunion. At the Brewster reunion, you can go check that out. He's got a book coming out, If These Bricks Could Talk. A real Detroit legend, just a hell of a guy on a bunch of different notes. But KK and his brother Lawrence, in that period in the early 90s, were literally moving the crowd. And KK talks about it, that he introduced Meech to his brother Lawrence. And then prior to that, and this is coming out of Meech's mouth and Meech's crew, prior to that, they could get 1 brick, 2 bricks. But once they got hooked up with KK and Lawrence, who had a Colombian connect. So again, we were saying it ain't money in girl like it is in boy. Well, when you start getting Colombian connects, the math changes significantly.
Yeah, big time.
So Lawrence and KK and them had a Colombian connect. They took a liking. If you watch the scripted series BMF, there's a character in there called K9, which is based on
the hybrid.
Yeah, hybrid of Lawrence and KK. So you guys should definitely check that out. Again, it's a lot of tie-ins. Lawrence and KK's father, shout out to another legend, R.I.P. Knows their dad and my dad go back to beyond Miller High School, I think Bishop Elementary School in Black Bottom.
Whoa.
Yeah. Again, just another project legend. And we are looking forward. He's got a lot of stuff coming up, because it was kind of his stepping out party on that BMF episode 2.
Yeah.
And kind of introduced the rest of the country to what we in Detroit have known for a long time.
Yeah.
And that's that KK and his brother Lawrence were really special when it comes to this street thing.
Yeah, they were.
And he's just a great guy, period. Smart guy.
Oh, yeah.
Really smart guy.
Top ranks.
And so we look forward to bringing him to you and doing all that. And that, like in every story, that they had we had Ron Giavalli.
Yes. As
the arch nemesis federal agent.
Yeah.
Theirs was an agent by the name of Jack Harvey.
Oh, okay.
And it's always a bunch of similarities in story. And so Jack Harvey is telling the DEA that these guys, Demetrius and Terry Flannery, are big deals.
Mm-hmm.
For years, his superiors wouldn't believe him. It wasn't until Jack Harvey got them to do a stakeout of a birthday party that I think Nelly was throwing for tea.
Okay.
And with the amount of celebrities and people who were seen there, that's when the DEA...
This is the one with the billboards and so on and so forth.
The billboards didn't help.
Right.
But no, Nelly the rapper literally threw a party for tea in St. Louis. The feds were surveilling the party. The amount of wealth displayed at the party and the high profileness of the people. Puff was there, and obviously Nelly's hosting the party.
Mm-hmm.
Ashanti, the who's who of hip hop.
Yeah, everybody
black culture was there. And it made the DEA say, maybe these guys are not run of the mill. So yeah. So shout out again to KK. Shout out to the good people over there at G Unit and what they're doing with that whole series. A lot of tie-ins to the Big Boss Filmworks Motown Mafia family on that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, episode 2, Blowing Money Fast, BMF. Check it out.
Good stuff.
Check it out. Lastly but not leastly, bro.
Oh yeah.
Did you hear about Queen Bee, Beyonce's, the little deal that she just negotiated?
Oh yeah, you talking about that $35 million thing out there? And
is it 35 or 28?
It's actually 35.
Is it 35?
It was 35 million. I looked at the story recently, and it was total $35 million.
Queen Bee, Beyonce Carter, yes, obviously the wife of Sean Carter, aka Hove, aka Jay-Z. I mean, I gotta shout out to this sister. And nothing but salute to them and the incredible
win.
She's getting $35 million to do one show.
Yeah.
In Dubai.
That's right.
And there's some smart people who are saying that she may have sold cheap.
Yeah, I mean, what compared to the residency or a show in Vegas?
In Vegas, well, they're saying right now the Queen Bee can get. Their main house, they have got houses everywhere, but their main house is in Beverly Hills, in California. Mm-hmm. 45-minute flight to Vegas, right?
Yeah.
She can go to the Bellagio or Wynn or any place in Vegas, do a show, and demand $5 million. So she could leave home at 6 p.m., go do a show in Vegas at 8, and be back home to feed her kids by 9, and get 5 M's.
Oof.
Well, for the flight to Dubai, there and back, that's a whole day in the air. Mm-hmm. Then a day to prepare for it. That's 4 days. She's out of pocket. Mm-hmm. A really smart guy, David Bendet. He broke down the math. I think and he came out to about. Now I know this is gonna sound crazy. It's about $800,000 an hour.
Yeah,
is what it works out. If she's away from home and from her family for 4 days to get this $35 million bag. If you take 96 hours, if you take 35 million and you divide it by 96 hours, it comes out to about $800,000 an hour. Obviously, a king's ransom, family.
Ugh.
I'd take it.
Yeah,
I'd take it.
I think I would too.
I think I'd take it in a minute. But when you look at 1 hour to get $5 million in Vegas, he was putting it in that kind of context. Mm-hmm. That actually Vegas is valuing her time a little bit higher.
A little, yeah. Because
they're like, I'll give you $5 million for 1 hour. With all the time and energy it takes for her to get to Dubai, to the other side of the world, she's making about $800 large an hour.
And what does that say about the culture?
And what does that say about what we take for granted is our natural talent? And, because, in our culture, if one of us do it, it stops being special.
Right.
So she is appreciated more outside of our culture than inside of our culture.
That's right.
Because if she waited to get that kind of money from us, love you to death, Queen Bee, but you'll be a waiting sister.
Yeah, buddy.
But people outside of our culture recognize the icon that she is. Those people got long bread to sit in on a Beyonce concert is a bucket list checklist.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
And I can only imagine what the tickets are going for. I mean, the tickets are probably going to be $50,000. But I remember Celine Dion, she had the pavilion at Caesar's Palace for like 10 years.
Yeah.
The cheap seat was $5K.
Mm-hmm.
I think when Prince, God rest his soul, he was at the Rio, same kind of thing. So even to this day, I mean, Barbra Streisand.
I mean, they was getting that paper back. I mean, big time. The residencies was ridiculous.
Yeah. So it's all about appreciation, and I brought that story up again because we sometimes take our talents, the people that come out of our community, we take it for granted.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you see people from the Middle East put that kind of value on the music that comes out of our culture and are willing to pay that kind of premium, we shouldn't take each other for granted. We shouldn't take the stories we tell each other for granted. We shouldn't take the music. We shouldn't take the acting or the dancing that people from our community do, because the rest of the world knows we're a unique, special people, and those good people in Dubai said, we recognize it, we know it, and we'll pay for it.
And we'll pay the premium. Straight up.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it reminds me of the video. I think I told you about the video a while back. It was a violin player. He was, I don't know who he was, but he was like world renowned violinist. And he, before his show, he goes into, what was it, like a subway station. And he's playing his violin. He's playing his heart out, just as hard as he would play in a concert hall. And he gets a few pennies here, maybe about, I think he walked away with like $35 or, somewhere in that neighborhood. And then that night, he headlines in the concert venue. I can't remember. I can't remember. It was in New York. And the tickets were about, I believe, like $150, $200 per ticket. So, it's all about placement.
It's all about placement, and again, finding people that appreciate you. So whatever you're doing out there, you can't always let other people set the value for you. You gotta know your own value, and sometimes give the world a chance to catch up, and they'll recognize your value, and they'll pay you for your real value.
Know your worth, baby.
Not the street corner value. Because if you listen to Pookie and them, sometimes you'll be all confused.
No,
but
time.
Another time. So again, in retrospect, check out episode 2, Blowing Money Fast. See what the brother KK talking about. Again, gonna have him definitely in 2023. He will do a guest appearance. I've got a verbal commitment on that. Shout out again to brother Cavario. Check out that interview with Peter Shue. Great interview, and salute to the Queen Bee.
Salute, baby. Big time.
What else we got? Guys, make sure you guys are hitting that like, share, and subscribe button too.
Oh yeah, definitely. And we wanna shed some love on our sponsors.
Oh yeah, Vinyl's Apparel, located on Davidson between Linwood and Dexter, and right next to it is Blazing Hookah. So all you got to do is go over there. If you're on the west side of Detroit, if you're not on the west side, it's still worth taking the drive over there. I mean, Vinyl has for the last 20 years kept the hottest stuff in urban fashion, and in my opinion, he's got one of the best buying eyes in the country when it comes to making brothers and sisters shine and look good.
World class.
And he's right there on Davidson between Linwood and Dexter in the plaza. Can't miss it. Big sign that says Vinyl, and then right next to it, great place just to hang out and lounge. Blazing Hookahs.
Oh, big time. And if you need graphics of any kind, hit me up at Instagram, Flyers Plus Graphics.
All right, awesome. Tune in, check up. I don't know. We have to maybe do it on one of the social media platforms to give people the countdown on Patreon.
Yeah, Patreon coming soon, and I think our projected date is the 6th.
February 6th.
Yeah, February 6th. Patreon goes live.
Day I go up in the air.
That's right.
Going over to the Holy Lands for a minute, fam.
So
look forward to some hot content. I'm gonna be over.
Yeah, get some good video out that way.
Going over to the Middle East, Egypt, Israel area, and spend some time with the fam and talk about some things.
And Making the Mafia, by the way, is on Patreon, all set and ready to go. Once it goes live, you will get a chance to see our journey from Big Boss Filmworks from its inception until today.
From Robert Townsend
Oof.
to best true crime documentary to one of the premier crime documentaries. Oh, which you can of course check out, Motown Mafia, where one of the projects, the first project we did, which was Motown Mafia, Memoirs of a Kingpin's Kid, and of course we adapted this book, hooked up with brother Al Prophet, and produced Motown Mafia, which is available on Tubi TV and on Amazon Prime. In the book, Memoirs of a Kingpin's Kid, Motown Mafia, is available on Amazon, along with Big Man on Campus, also available on Kindle, on Amazon.
Yeah.
And lastly but not leastly, you got Getting Off Zero, Mind Right, Money Right. Shout out to Ray Tatum down there in Atlanta. And that is available on Amazon also. And you can always still get some of this stuff at bigbossfilmworks.com.
Definitely. And check out the newly launched Diaspora Plug at YouTube.
Yeah, we had some cyber issues, people messing with our platform and stuff. So you guys can resubscribe. We're going to repopulate it. So we just released the first piece of content on the relaunch of the Diaspora Plug. And on Patreon, we got a lot more variety also in content style. But that Diaspora Plug will be repopulated, so all the people, it was just really starting to get some traction. All you guys who were liking that kind of stuff, what we do in Africa, what we do business-wise, motivation, inspirational, entrepreneurial stuff.
Big time.
Just give us a minute, and that site will be repopulated.
That's what's up.
All right, we good?
We good, baby.
Well, again, the good people here at Big Boss Filmworks do appreciate you. Motown Mafia podcast available where all your podcasts are. Check us out on Spotify, Anchor, and any of the above. Follow us on Facebook, like us, share, and subscribe on YouTube. We love you guys. 2022. Real soon, we're going to be able to get launched. You guys been asking about some follow-up projects. Really, really soon, we're going to be able to have some real breaking news. And as Muhammad Ali said, we're going to shock the world. We're going to shock the world. All right, holla at you, man. It's your man, CRB Jr. You got Big Lou Stevens still on the side. Big Boss Filmworks. We doing what we do. Holla at you, man.
Peace.
Peace.